Babysitting Rule. Don't mention the man in the basement. Part 9. Hey guys, I don't even know how to start this one. Everything I thought I understood about the house, about Jamie, about Valakar, it all came crashing together tonight. After I left Alfred's, I sat in my car for what felt like forever. The things he told me, about his wife, about the house, about Valakar, were circling my brain like vultures. It's not a ghost. It's not a demon. It's something older, deeper. It lives in places. It makes vessels. It destroys them. And Jamie was next. One thing was for sure. I wasn't giving up. I still had fight left in me. And I formulated a plan as I sat there. Maybe a stupid plan. For sure, a dangerous plan. But it was a plan. And it was the last chance to try to save Jamie. When I arrived at the house that Friday night, it felt heavier than ever. The air seemed to press against me, and I could feel the familiar tension in the walls. Jamie was waiting for me at the top of the stairs, pale, weak, and trembling. But the moment he saw me, he clung to me like I was the only safe thing in the world. I felt protective, like he was my own child now. David and Margaret were moving around the house, collecting their coats and bags. They barely looked at me, their faces tight with exhaustion and fear. "We'll be back at midnight," Margaret said softly, not meeting my eyes. "Everything else is the same." I nodded, feeling that familiar knot in my stomach. Once they were gone, closing the front door behind them, the house fell into an eerie quiet, punctuated only by Jamie's soft sniffles and the distant creak of the old floorboards settling. I guided Jamie to the living room. He nestled against me, and I could feel how fragile he was, how scared, how dependent. The house had grown heavier, darker somehow, since the last week, and I knew I had to be braver than I'd ever been. Not for me, but for him. I smoothed his hair back, my heart breaking. "It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay," I whispered, though my own voice was shaking. I hoped I wasn't lying. I hoped the words I spoke were true, and that tonight, this was going to end. It was almost 9 p.m. The whole house felt heavy, like the air itself was pressing down on me. Shadows stretched, long and strange, across the floor. I took Jamie upstairs and tucked him in. He was pale and clammy, his eyes glassy. I brushed his hair back from his forehead. "I'm not going anywhere," I whispered. "I'm right here." "Don't leave me," he murmured. "I won't." I sat with him until his breathing slowed, until I was sure he was asleep. He needed to be asleep before I executed my plan, so that Valakar wouldn't be as strong, wouldn't have as powerful an access to Jamie. I kissed his forehead one last time and stood up. My heart was hammering, but I knew what I had to do. The basement door loomed before me, darker than I remembered, its frame warped and swollen from years of damp. The air pressed down heavy and cold as I laid my hand on the knob. My skin prickled instantly, goosebumps raising up my arms. I hesitated, every instinct screaming for me to turn back, to shut the door and never open it again. But I forced myself to twist the handle. The hinges groaned as I opened, spilling stale air that smelled of mildew, rot, and something sharper, like blood left too long in the heat. The overwhelming sense of dread, of negativity pushed down on me. I could almost taste the terror. It enveloped every part of me. Each step down was harder than the last. The wooden stairs creaked and bowed, complaining beneath my weight. The deeper I went, the colder it became, until the air itself was sinking into my bones. The walls seemed to pulse faintly, shadows bending and stretching at the edges of my vision. I could hear it, the low hum, the vibration that wasn't sound so much as pressure inside my skull. My breath became quick, shallow, like I was already suffocating. The basement was cluttered with old trunks, warped furniture, and cobwebs thick as gauze. It was clear that no person had been down here in years. This was a forgotten or forbidden space. But I made my way to the center, where I felt the most powerful negative energy. My hands shook, and I swallowed hard. My plan was desperate, reckless, but it was all I had. If Valakar was bound to that place, to its walls, its foundation, its basement, maybe this was the only option. And so, I lit the match. It flared instantly, bright and furious in the suffocating dark. My heart jolted. I touched the flame to some old papers in a wooden box. The fire caught fast, sparks leaping, tongues of flame licking up through the wood. The smoke rose at once, thick and choking, curling into my lungs. I staggered to my feet, coughing violently, eyes stinging as smoke curled into my lungs. My plan had been simple. Set the basement on fire, run upstairs, grab Jamie, and get out before it spreads. But the moment the flames caught, the house came alive. I coughed violently, eyes watering. The smell of burning rot filled my nostrils, overwhelming, almost chemical in its harshness. The basement seemed to rock in the flickering light shadows jerking and twisting on the walls, like they were moving of their own accord. The low hum grew louder, almost a growl. I turned, desperate for air, desperate to escape the growing smoke. My chest burned, every breath shallow and painful. I stumbled up the steps, reaching for the door at the top. But before I could get there, something grabbed me. Not a hand, not a shape, but a force. Invisible, crushing, pulling me backward. The stairs might as well have been a mountain. I clawed at the steps, dragging myself upward, one trembling inch at a time, my nails scraping against the wood. The harder I pushed forward, the stronger the pull became, like I was hooked by a rope around my ribs, being dragged back into the fire. I felt myself lose hope. I was helpless against Valakar's strength. I let out a sob. I failed. And then I saw him. At the top of the stairs, barely visible through the swirling smoke, stood Jamie. His small frame was silhouetted against the dim light from the hall. Relief surged through me. Jamie! I reached my hand out toward him, tears streaming down my face. Please, help me up! Maybe if he grabbed me, if he pulled me, we could break the grip of the thing dragging me down. We would escape together, run into the chilly air outside, and watch the house burn. Valakar and his grip on Jamie, reduced to ashes in the flames. But he didn't move toward me. He stood frozen in place. Was he frozen in fear? Jamie! I called again desperately. It's okay! Just take my hand! Pull me up! Still, he just stood there. And then, as I dragged myself up another step, fighting against the invisible pull trying to drag me back into the basement, the flames surged, and Jamie's face was lit by the fire's glow creeping up from below. He was smiling, but it wasn't Jamie's smile. It was wrong, crooked, cold. And without a word, Jamie slowly, deliberately, seemingly taking glee in my panicked sobs, closed the door. In that instant, all hope of escape vanished. He had shut me out, sealed me in, sentencing me to burn alive in the choking, fiery basement. The betrayal cut sharper than the smoke in my lungs. That wasn't Jamie anymore. Valakar had claimed him. Darkness swallowed me. The pull yanked harder, dragging me down the stairs, the smoke clawing at my throat. My last scream dissolved into the fire. As I realized what I had to do, I stopped fighting. My body went limp, the invisible hands closing in around me. Tears cut paths down my soot-streaked cheeks as I whispered into the dark. Take me instead. The basement went still, as though it was responding to my words. The fire roared, but beneath it, the hum rose, low vibrating, alive. It pulsed through the walls, the floor, my bones. The air shifted, thicker, heavier, like 1,000 hands pressing against me at once. "Do you hear me?" I coughed, forcing the words out through the smoke tearing my throat raw. "Leave, Jamie! Take me! I'm right here!" The shadows leaned closer, drawn to me. The flames bent and curled as if pulled by something unseen, and the smoke no longer just choked. It wrapped around me, coiling like a serpent. I fell to my knees, convulsing as the darkness pressed harder, filling my lungs, pouring into me. My scream was swallowed by it, ripped from my throat as the heat and the shadow became one, searing through my chest. And then, silence. The fire still burned, but it no longer touched me. The smoke no longer strangled me. I knelt there, gasping, trembling, but alive. Except I wasn't just alive. I could feel it. Something vast and ancient curled inside me, cold and infinite, whispering without words. Valakar had answered. The house was quiet now. The flames in the basement had burned themselves out, leaving only the faint smell of smoke curling through the air. The shadows had settled, but inside me, something dark and patient stirred, testing its new home. I guess this is goodbye. I don't know how long it will be before this takes hold of me. Is it immediate or a slow transition? I'll update if I can, but will it even be me updating or something else? I still feel like me, but beneath the horror, beneath the pain, I feel something else. Strength. For the first time since this nightmare began, I'm not afraid. I'm not prey anymore. I am the vessel.